Good morning to you all. Today I'm actually outside the tractor, and I've seen in the background I've got a roller paddock shortly. Where we sow lentils, we need them nice and flat so we can harvest as many as possible, so I've got to put a roller across it. But anyway, today's lesson is from Genesis chapter 16, and there's three players in this lesson. There's Abraham, who was to be the father of the Jewish nation, his wife Sarah, and Sarah's maidservant that looked after her, a woman called Hagar. Now, at this point, the background was that Abraham and Sarah, or Abraham in particular, had been promised to be the father of the Jewish nation. He was promised that he was going to have numerous descendants, but nothing had happened. These promises from God had been 10 years previous, and Abraham's now about 85-ish, Sarah's about 75-ish, obviously thinking, well, what's going to happen? God's plan's not really coming together. So Sarah's decided that I'm going to make things happen. So she goes to Abraham and she says, how about you take my servant Hagar, and perhaps through Hagar I can build a family line. Well, Abraham should have been saying, I don't think so. But Abraham goes along with it, and Abraham says, yeah, okay, let's do that. Anyway, Hagar falls pregnant, and she starts to despise her mistress, and she's probably a bit like, nah, I got pregnant, you couldn't. Look at me, sorry for you. And it's gone really badly. Now, Sarah gets pretty upset at the situation. She goes back to Abraham and she says, hey, look what you've done. Look what you've caused. Really? So nobody's taking responsibility here. And Abraham continues the trend. He sort of throws his arms up in the air and he goes, oh, all right, whatever, do with Hagar as you want. So Sarah goes back to Hagar, treats her really badly, and Hagar runs off. And at this point, God miraculously intervenes. But you can read about the rest of this in Genesis chapter 16. The point is, one of the things I really love about the Bible is it doesn't gloss things over. The major players in the Bible often make numerous mistakes, and Abraham and Sarah, this was just a real failure of anyone to take responsibility. So the thing is that Abraham and Sarah thought they would try and do God's will their way. They weren't prepared to wait for what God had promised. They wanted to do it their way, and as they made this series of errors, neither of them were prepared to take responsibility. They kept passing the buck and saying, oh, do it your way, or do it this way, or whatever. Now, the challenge for us is that, are we prepared to wait for God's will in our lives? If God said a thing will happen, are we prepared to wait and do it his way? And are we prepared to take responsibility for our own actions? It's actually pretty easy to blame somebody else, isn't it? I'm this way because of my parents, or it's the way I was raised, or it was a bit cold this morning and that's why I did that, or it was somebody else's fault that things turned out this way. We really need to be taking responsibility. We need to, when we get things wrong, to go to God, ask for forgiveness, and strive to do better next time. God promised he will forgive us. He is a loving, forgiving God, and his call to us is to serve him, to look for his way in our lives, to accept responsibility when we get it a bit wrong, and to always be seeking to serve him in every way that we can. So you can read Genesis 16 and have a look what happens when nobody wants to take responsibility and everyone wants to push it off onto somebody else. So catch you next time. Bye.